When a new patch is about to release, it can be very daunting deciding what to main, whether it be because you took a break for a bit, you were playing a different version of WoW, or simply it's just your first time playing the War Within. The Comeback Kids are here to help. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down to you the easiest and best DPS specs that you can main in patch 11.2. These overall ratings are going to be based, of course, on the skill level required, the performance and the results of the raid and Mythic Plus testing, the design and if it's fun, and even the class theme overall. Hopefully by doing so, we can steer you in the right direction to selecting a spec that is perfect for you. Now, out of all the big class changes heading into the new season, Frost Death Knight's rework is absolutely number one on my list. The changes they've made to this spec overall have been nothing short of amazing. They turned a spec that was honestly quite clunky and boring into a spec that's constantly dealing tons of damage. It's super fun during its cooldown windows, and it's very straightforward to play once you understand what's going on. They took away the garbage that was like Death and Decay causing your obliterates to cleave, and they swapped it with giving you a new ability called Frost Scythe. It's just a basic AoE filler. Also, your empowered rune weapon got reworked. It's not an offensive major cooldown now. It now has 2 charges, it deals some damage, and more importantly, it grants you a charge of Killing Machine, which greatly smooths out the rotation. And then lastly, for the big changes, they of course reworked Breath of Sindragosa to where now it doesn't cost you runic power every second, and its duration is increased based on how many Killing Machine procs you spend during the duration, which is really nice. Listen, the rotation and design of Frost Death Knight immediately became one of the best in the game this entire season. Like usual though, Frost Death Knight, it still has that identity of doing massive damage every 45 seconds, pairing Pillar of Frost with Reaper's Mark and Exterminate, and then every once in a while you throw in your Breath of Sindragosa during those windows, and the damage is amazing, man. I also really love the Frostbane ability they added as well, where it's kind of like an AoE Frost Strike that pops all of the stacks of Razor Ice on your enemies. It's a really nice filler in between your major go windows, and it hits like a Mack truck, and it's just very satisfying to use in general. Listen, overall, Frost Death Knight is relatively straightforward to play. It hits hard as hell. It's super fun, and of course, the class theme of playing a Frost DK is awesome. Your character looks like a freaking unit in that plate armor, while also wielding a two-handed weapon dealing a bunch of frost damage. It is awesome. So if you've ever had an interest in playing Frost DK, now would probably be your best chance to ever play it, and I would highly recommend it. For our first ranged DPS, we also have the Beast Mastery Hunter. Now, listen, it's not news to anybody that Beast Mastery is one of the easier specs to play in the game, but what's very interesting is that the damage this spec can deal right now is fantastic on the PTR. I'll say it very plain and simple, ladies and gentlemen. If you want something that is easy to play, great for solo content like Delves, and just deals a lot of damage, this is the spec for you. Now, they did make some changes to Beast Mastery heading into the new season. They reworked how their Dire Beast is summoned because it is now a passive, and on top of that, your Dire Beast can now also cast Kill Command when you use the ability, which is a nice little extra bonus of damage. Their Pack Leader Hero Talent Tree is of course their go-to option here, and their tier set bonus for this spec is awesome. So occasionally, whenever you summon your beast from your pack leader tree, whether it be, you know, the boar, the bear, or the wyvern, you have a chance to also call a stampede of animals to come out and charge enemies in front of you to run them over to deal heavy damage. Thematically, the animation is really awesome, and it really fits that, you know, Beast Mastery theme of just calling out a bunch of animals to do your bidding, which is really cool. Overall, I think you have to understand that I really like the position this spec is in. If you're looking for something where you kind of just want to chill and turn off your brain and deal really high consistent damage all the time, this is the one for you. I mean, you use Barb Shot to keep up the stacks and increase the attack speed of your pets. You make sure to use Multi-Shot to keep up Beast Cleave so your pets can AoE everything, and then you use Bestial Wrath on cooldown. It's quite literally as simple as that. You don't have to worry about a ton of crazy burst windows anymore. It's a really fantastic class once you get it down, and I think Beast Mastery is doing really well right now, guys. Their damage is very exceptional in both Mythic Plus and rating throughout all of the testing. They're very easy to play, simple, and always effective, no matter the conditions they're in. Moving on to our next melee DPS, we do have the Havoc Demon Hunter. Now, Havoc Demon Hunter didn't get any changes heading the new season, but that doesn't mean they can't be an option for you. We've all seen the hints at them potentially getting a third Void-based Demon Hunter spec, but if you've ever had an interest in playing Havoc, this could be a really good season for you. I don't think the skill requirement to play Havoc Demon Hunter is a big burden. And if we're talking about just raw damage numbers in AoE, they're amongst some of the higher caliber specs in the game, man. What I personally love about Havoc is that both of their tier sets right now are really effective. I love the simplicity of Fellscarred. It buffs your Immolation aura a good amount, but also it has an overall damage increase tied to the tier set. So if you combine that with inertia during your Demon Surge windows, you could deal some really heavy damage, and it's a lot of fun, to be honest. I really enjoy that Havoc Demon Hunter isn't complicated. The main concern is that obviously you gotta tie your hardest hitting abilities and pair them with that tier set, with the inertia, and other than that, you just have a basic rotation of using Chaos Strike, Blade Dance on cooldown, some filler abilities, and you're good to go. I do think it requires some patience because you definitely want to use your abilities in good succession with each other for those damage bonuses, but that's just a minor practice that you have to have. Through the raid and Mythic Plus testing as well, they were absolutely above average. You also bring that Chaos Brand debuff to amplify the magic damage of your raid, which makes you invaluable. Then of course, on top of all this, I really enjoy the class theme of Havoc Demon Hunter as well, being one of the Illidari. It's also a very cool thing in WoW, and the thought of sacrificing yourself to being part demon is just a really interesting backstory to have in general. I think the Havoc Demon Hunter is in a really good spot heading into the new season. Yes, they haven't seen major changes, but we could potentially be getting a third spec for them, which could be interesting. We'll have to just wait and see, though. Moving on next, surprisingly, we do have the Demonology Warlock. Now, contrary to what most believe, Demonology is a lot more straightforward to what you would think. From a core rotational standpoint, it's about using your Charhound and Dreadstalkers pretty much on cooldown. You spam your Shadow Bolt and finish it off with Hand to Gul'dan. That's kind of the general rotation about it. And honestly, it's very easy, very, very consistent, and high damage. And it's a lot of fun. Now, in particular, Demonology Warlock's damage numbers are amongst some of the highest in the game on the PTR right now. So if we're talking about just a video breakdown of the easiest and best, Demonology absolutely fits the description here. I love the idea of pets dealing most of my damage, and I always thought that it was a really cool class fantasy to have. So Demonology Warlock, for me personally, has always been a lot of fun. Of course, there are some nuances in the rotation where, like, you got to use Demonic Tyrant the second you summon all your pets, and then you want to make sure you also have a decent amount of imps out to increase all the durations and stuff, because of course, the more pets you have out during your Tyrant equals more damage. But Demonology Warlock, they've gotten a lot of buffs and class updates throughout the PTR testing, and it's improving their gameplay style for both of their hero talent trees, which is a really good thing. Overall, I gotta say for Demonology, I really love the class theme. Their numbers are absolutely there for raiding and Mythic Plus right now. The rotation is very straightforward once you get it down, so it doesn't take too much skill heading into the new season. So if you really like the idea of summoning pets to do your bidding, you should definitely give Demo Lock a shot this season. For our next melee DPS, we do have the Retribution Paladin. Listen, guys, I like to think of Ret Paladin as like the main character of all World of Warcraft. I mean, there's a reason they're one of the highest played specs in the game. We gotta be honest, they have a 10 out of 10 class fantasy. They have phenomenal animations, very straightforward to play, constant AoE burst every 25 seconds with Wake of Ashes, and all of this is wrapped up in a spec that brings some of the best utility in the game. They have Blessing of Sacrifice, Blessing of Protection, Lay on Hands, Devotion Aura. All of this in one spec is something that is very rare to have in World of Warcraft. If we're talking about pure raw damage numbers though, you have to know Ret Paladin isn't S tier by any means, but having Wake of Ashes on a 25-second cooldown, it just gives you such massive damage very consistently. There's not a lot of misplay that you could have in your kit, so it's very straightforward. You combine that with the Hammer of Light ability from your hero talent tree, you have the Empyrean Hammers coming down passively, and then you just use your Holy Power on Divine Storm, and listen, you're going to be doing some solid AoE burst. It's not rocket science to understand that Ret Paladin is one of the easier specs to play in the game, but they have that perfect combination of fun, simple, and a lot of utility for the group, and it's the main reason they're one of the most played specs in all of World of Warcraft. It feels like this video was probably designed to have Ret Paladin #1 on the list, because it's just the perfect combination of easy and powerful. Now, through the raid testing, Ret Paladin didn't perform that well, I will say that, but they did just get a lot of buffs to their single target, so I'm definitely excited in that regard. Remember, in Mythic Plus, you're still able to do some of the higher tier content with them, whether that be plus 12s and up, so you don't have to worry about that. And if you're skilled enough, you can pretty much carry your low-key groups because of everything you offer in one package. I'm really excited for this spec heading into the new season. Of course, it's easy, solid overall, and the class theme is probably one of the best in the entire game. Moving on next, we have the Frost Mage. Now, Frost Mage is easily one of the biggest surprises out of every spec in the game heading into the new season with how they've been doing. This class has seen such a substantial amount of buffs to a lot of their kit, and it's shooting them up past most classes overall in just pure damage. The rotation for Frost Mage is also one of the easiest in terms of casters as well. You pair Blizzard and Frozen Orb in AoE, you make sure to use your Shadow combo on your hardest hitting abilities like Comet Storm and Glacial Spike, and then you use Ice Lance whenever you get Fingers of Frost. That's pretty much the general rotation, and I was very surprised to see how straightforward and simple it was compared to some of the other mage specs. Not only that, it's dealing very competitive damage, and it's something I never could have dreamed of for Frost Mage heading into this season. Something you gotta know about mages also in general is that Blizzard always keeps an eye on them, man. They always end up, you know, having one or two specs in the meta, so you could always play some of the other specs if you end up not loving Frost after a while. Personally, when it comes to Frost Mage, I really love the fact that both their hero talent trees are very effective, and they offer a wide variety of gameplay. Spellslinger is all about those frozen orbs and dealing a lot of amplified damage in AoE. And then you have Frostfire that calls down those, you know, Meteor, Comet Storm combos, which of course visually looks great and the damage is very effective. But Frost Mage has a really good variety between both hero talent trees right now. The buffs for them have been fantastic for their numbers. They haven't been this good in a long time. It's straightforward to play, and I'm really excited for them overall heading into the new season. Now, moving on to our next melee DPS, we do have the Fury Warrior. I know this may come as a surprise because I love to rag on Fury Warrior every once in a while, but the truth of the matter is they got some great buffs the last few weeks. The 4-set bonus getting reworked has done wonders for the spec overall. Not only that, the bonus damage to their natural cleave getting buffed by 10%. It's been great for them also. Yes, Fury Warriors still have an AoE cap problem, but if you're fighting 4 to 5 targets, there's some of the best damage in the game for that now. I personally love the fact that also Fury Warriors, listen, it's straightforward to play. You spend your rage on Rampage, you keep up the enrage buff, and then you use Thunderclap on cooldown to keep up your Whirlwind buff. On top of that, you're just spamming Bloodthirst, hoping you get a proc for the Thunder Blast. What's really fun, and it does revolve some RNG, is occasionally you'll get these windows where, you know, your Thunder Blast will just keep procking over and over again, and it ends up being a ton of damage out of nowhere, so there is some RNG tied to it. On top of that, I do think Fury Warrior is a very spammy melee DPS spec, meaning that their actions per minute is one of the highest in the entire game, because you're quite literally just zug-zugging the entire time. So if you're not interested in fast-paced gameplay, Fury Warrior is probably not for you. At this current moment in time, Fury is outperforming Arms Warrior as well on pretty much every way possible, including mass AoE, so it looks like Fury is going to be the go-to option for Warrior overall. Don't forget the fact that every raid needs a Warrior no matter what, and Warriors are very critical to have in melee cleave comps for Mythic Plus. That's kind of the big reason I have them on this list, is because they're very easy to play, and everyone needs a Warrior every once in a while no matter what, because you need that Battle Shout buff. There are some specs in the game that of course are still going to dog walk them for uncapped AoE damage, but Fury Warrior is at least competitive across all forms of content. You can do any form of content in the game at a pretty high level. I'm really excited to see how this class turns out, and hopefully they continue to shine in the spotlight. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the Marksmanship Hunter. And man, guys, I hate to say it, but if you were sick and tired of Marksmanship Hunter being high DPS, that's not going to change heading into the new season. Some of the numbers this spec can pull out are absolutely ridiculous. They just recently got nerfed by an overall 10% damage reduction, and it still does not stop them from topping the meters across the board for Mythic Plus and rating. If you're looking for a range spec that's just pure damage, you can forget about every other spec I mentioned. You can literally just play Marksmanship and be fine throughout the entirety of the season. Not only that, I was surprised to find that Marksmanship is really straightforward. In my first Mythic Plus dungeon ever as Marksman, I was dealing 20 million DPS in some packs very easily. I was blowing by everyone else in my group in terms of raw damage numbers. All you have to do is just pair trick shots with your aim shot and rapid fire combos to do AoE cleave. Whenever you use explosive shot, you get that instant cast aim shot, which is really nice. You use volley for heavy AoE damage and to spread more explosive shots. And from a general gameplay standpoint, ladies and gentlemen, they're a lot easier to play than you would think, and their damage numbers are just absurd right now. I love the design of both their hero talent trees. Sentinel and Dark Ranger are super fun to me personally, and if I didn't hate Hunter in general, man, I would probably pick them up this season. They're very mobile, very bursty, and in a Raid or Mythic Plus group, sometimes I just want to deal a lot of damage, and that's where Marksmanship Hunter comes in. They're absolutely one of the easier specs to play in the game in terms of rotation. Their numbers are insane across all content types right now. They have fun hero talent trees and tier sets, and they're looking to dominate even after all the nerfs heading into the new season. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this video about the best and easiest specs that you can main. If you're looking for a guild heading into the new season, listen up, because we have a very important message for you. One last note we wanted to make. If you're looking for a guild or people to progress through Mythic Plus with or raid with next season, the Comeback Kids are recruiting, and any and all players are welcome to come on down, play with us. We're looking to fill out some new members for the raid. Oh my god, we fucking did it. Oh my god, let's fucking go, bro. If you're on the Horde, you can simply just go to the guild tab and search up the Comeback Kids, and we should pop up. Make sure you do have the guild size on any so you can actually see us. Either way though, if it doesn't work, you just use the Discord link in the comment section below. Hop in there and verify, get yourself in, and then we can get you invited by you posting your name and server under the guild invite tab.